Herzegovina. Hardened hands. The soil wrenched from the stone by man's 10 fingers and by his hard work. In that stone there is hope and a cry, struggle for life. In the poor soil tilled with love, there is an eternal hope of resurrection and freedom. Upon the gray stone, under the inviting stars, wrinkled hands pray. Prayer, a comfort and a hope. Song, a roar or cry that invokes the very beginning in which the future could be seen. Young men going to all parts of Europe into someone else's armies and wars, and mothers saying their rosaries for their children to come back. Foreign country promises of more bread and clothes, and a hope that one day it could be otherwise. Faith in an almighty justice and reliance in God who forgives, leads, and directs. Once upon a time, after a mass near the vineyards, the local people gathered and decided to raise the cross. The cross, a continuance of suffering in which God himself confirms the significance. 1933, on the mountain, at the summit, where, during nights of greatest sorrow, only their whispers of hidden dreams had reached, there arose the cross. Medjugorje, a small place in a country between east and west, on its borders, both behind and in front, the Iron Curtain. A place which is quite ordinary, with nothing exceptional. A place with a traditional way of life and the doom of working abroad. Under totalitarian dictatorship, but with a hope for freedom. A place of traditional faith in a country of godless government, communism.
We regularly attended the Holy Mass and prayed. We lived helping each other with work on the land. Our homes were always open. We never locked them, so if anyone needed any bread or anything else, there was no shame just to enter someone's house and take it.
The East, with its godless ideology, promises of heaven on earth for the chosen of the chosen. A man observes another man, accuses, condemns, informs, denounces. Man is hell to his fellow man. The West, a well-being and lost sense. The loss of God echoes in the emptiness, an endless search for pleasure, and the absurdity of such a quest for happiness. Despair. To Medjugorje, both the man from the east and the man from the west will be invited, with their emptiness of heart, to find peace. 6 children will be the messengers of that invitation. Year 1981. Yugoslavia is tired of the communistic dictatorship. Only 1 year has passed since the death of its leader. A country where the followers of its dictator had sworn that the atheistic regime would live forever, and it seemed to be eternal. In this country, where hope is banded, there remains a spirituality in which hope, prayer, and trust still haven't died. On June 24th, the feast of St. John the Baptist, Vitska, Ivanka, Mirjana, Maria, Ivan, and Yakov, all from the village of Bijakovici, set off for an afternoon walk without the slightest idea that it was going to change their lives forever.
They were walking ahead when Milka, waving her hand, called out, "Vitska, hurry up." I thought they saw a snake, maybe some animal. I came closer and she said to me, "Vitska, Our Lady." Lady? What lady? They are not normal. Something is wrong with them. What lady? I pulled the slippers off my feet in that mess. I had no time to even look back. I ran back home and then I stood at the crossroads between Ivan's house and our house. I stood there and at one moment I saw Ivan and his friend. They had been playing football and they were coming back home. I immediately turned round and I saw one of those 3 girls named Vitska running towards us, frightened, full of fear, saying, "Come, come, see Our Lady." At that moment I turned to my friend who was with me and told him, "Don't pay attention, she's crazy. What's she talking about? What lady?" I said, "Ivan, they say that they can see Our Lady. You and I don't need to go and see. Let's just go to be with them." Ivan came with me. We went with her and we were kind of relaxed, but all the way to that place she was convincing us, "When you come, you will see that it is Our Lady." Somehow that fear started to creep into us. When we came to that place, we saw Mirjana and Ivanka turn to the hill, watching something, crying. When we came up to them, Vitska turned to the hill and pointed with her hand. "Look up." I looked up 3 times and saw Our Lady's silhouette.
Ja sam 3 puta pogledao I vidio sam Gospin lik.
Mirjana, Ivanka I Milka, sestra od njih 3, stoje I one meni sad govore.
Mirjana, Ivanka and Milka, the 3 of them were standing and they said to me, "Vitska, come closer and look. See how beautiful Our Lady is. She is waving her hand for us to come." All that they said was in vain because I was looking down. My head was turned down like this and I looked at the ground all the time. But I wasn't afraid of Our Lady. No, I wasn't afraid of Our Lady. But there was something stronger in me at that moment that simply didn't let me raise my head. After a few minutes, my head started little by little raising up right to the place of the apparition where Our Lady was. As they had been describing Our Lady earlier, the way she looked, you could see her, although we were on the road and she was on the hill, just like she was right in front of us. She seemed so close, and you could see her, the grey dress, white veil, crown of stars, blue eyes, black hair, rosy cheeks. You could see very well. She hovered in the air on a grey cloud. She didn't stand on the ground. She called us with her hand that first evening to come to her, but the first evening we ran away.
Nas rukom prvu večer zvala da mi dođemo, ali prvu večer mi smo pobjegli.
When I saw her, I ran home, and I don't think it would have been easy to keep up with me. When I arrived home, I didn't say anything to anyone, not even to my parents. A night of such fear, a night of so many thoughts that were passing through my head. Is it possible? Was it Our Lady? When we came home, we told a couple of people about it. You know, we didn't want it to spread immediately. Then they said, "Well, you know, maybe someone goes for the sheep, maybe some kind of a torch, maybe flying saucers, maybe this." Old people have their own reasoning, but that's normal. When the girls told me the first moment when I was with them, Vitska, Our Lady, I told them that something was wrong with them. I mean, it was impossible for me. At that moment, it seemed impossible.
Excitement, fear, doubt, and curiosity all came together in one unique emotion in the heart of a small country chained with godless government, Our Lady.
My parents heard the rumors in the village that I had been there, and then in the morning they kept banging on the door. They wanted to know what it was. You know, parents used to get very frightened during that time of communism. They were concerned with what could happen to us. They started talking. "Be careful of what you're saying. Don't play games with it. It's not a game."
Besides the parents who anxiously questioned their own children, anxious and curious were the neighbors, friends, villagers. Word spread.
My colleague who worked with me was from Podbrdo. She was distressed. I asked her, "Well, what's happening to you? Is something wrong with you? I wanted to tell you something. I'm afraid to say, I don't know how you will react." She had to tell me, she said. "Vida, something happened at our place last night." "What happened?" "The children played at Podbrdo and they saw something on the hill. They say it was Our Lady." I was astounded. I said nothing at all, just kept my hand to my mouth.
Na brdu nešto, rekli su da je Gospa. Ja sam ostala ukamenjena. Uopće ništa nisam rekla. Samo sam se uhvatila za usta.
Bio sam na poslu.
Well, I was at work, and that day they sent me to the municipality building. Someone there asked me, "What's happening at your place? We've heard that some Virgin Mary appears there." I laughed because I thought that person was joking. When I returned to my place of work, I joked about it with other of my colleagues. But she said to me, "Hey, it's not funny, something is happening."
Kaže, ona imenjače, Miljenko ime, kaže, ona, nije to, kaže, smiješno. Nešto se događa.
Together they lived doubt, fear, curiosity, hope. The visionaries, confused, wanted to check their own mystical experience. Was it going to repeat? It was if an invisible force attracted them. The visionaries and the witnesses of the event ran up the hill, over stones, through thorns, as if by some kind of miracle nothing could stop them.
Bio sam jako zatišten.
I was very curious about what Our Lady would say about the whole experience, and what else. When I was there, I left my car far from the village. It was night. I was afraid that I would see Our Lady because I was afraid she would say, "You're a sinner."
Ti si grešnik.
The first doubts began, the first questions of authenticity. The old traditional ways of testing were applied.
To je bilo treći dan, jer kad je Gospa, moja baba...
This is what happened on the third day. My grandmother said, "Vitska, next time you go on potbada, take a glass of holy water with you. And when Our Lady comes, sprinkle some blessed water on her. If what you see is from something evil, from Satan, it will surely show a sign or even disappear. You have to be sure that it is Our Lady." When Our Lady came, I took the glass and said, "If you are Our Lady, stay, but if you are not, go away." Our Lady just smiled at us, and the water disappeared as if I had done nothing. Then we were sure it was Our Lady.
Ako nisi, iđi. I onda je se ona zasmijala i ona voda malo pomalo odjedno nestala kao da ništa nisi ni radio. Tako da smo bili sigurni da je Gospa.
And for the first time Our Lady spoke powerful words, a message which human hearts long to hear. I am the Queen of Peace. Through tears Our Lady spoke to the children. Peace must prevail between God and man, and also among men. In the country where communism threatened to stay forever, Our Lady gave to people thirsting for justice almost inconceivable instructions. Peace, 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 and only peace.
To je bilo poslije normalnog ukazanja koje smo mi imali.
It was after the regular apparition which we all had together on this third day that as I started to go home and halfway down the hill, Our Lady appeared to me again. And there she called for peace for the first time. That was her first message and the most important one.
And then the government authorities had the police take the children to doctors for the first series of medical examinations to research the authenticity of the mystical ecstasy. The frightened children asked Our Lady and hoped she would leave some kind of sign. During these first days of the apparitions, the parish priest was in Zagreb and was returning to his parish still not knowing about the visions.
When we arrived in front of the parish office in Medjugorje, nuns were waiting for us there and they said, "Where were you? So many people keep coming here. There are 6 children who claim that Our Lady appeared to them." Oh dear, who were those children? Who knew these children? Did Father Zrinko see these kids? Where is Father Zrinko now?
Continuous confusion, fear of the unknown, fear of the possibility of being framed and of fraud, fear of blasphemy, and all these fears merged into one question. What had really happened to the children? Only the children, though, could answer all these questions.
I uvedem ih u sobu, u moju sobu, to je prva desno. I sad su oni malo to sve iz svog zajedničkog dojma pripovjedali. Onda kažem, aj sad ovako.
So I took them into my room. It was the first room on the right when entering the parish rectory. They all spoke a little, just their impressions. Then I said to them, "Let's do it this way. I want to talk to each of you separately, okay? Everyone leave the room. Wait outside. Mirjana can stay." She was from Sarajevo. I didn't know her. She was the oldest among the children. I started asking her questions like where she was from and about her family. On this first meeting with her, I recognized an intelligent high school girl, a person who practiced her faith, a girl that prayed regularly, a girl that had never heard about the apparitions in Lourdes. I discovered that because I asked her about it. She spoke courageously, bravely about her experiences through those first 3 days.
Koja nije čula za ukazanje u Lurdu. I to sam otkrio, jer tu sam mi to pitao. I djevojka koja hrabro, odvažno govori o svom iskustvu kroz ta prva 3 dana. Onda sam poslije uveo Vicku.
Then I invited Vitska to come in. Vitska was also an open, courageous and uncomplicated person. She used such simple words to describe great events that I was surprised. Then Ivan came in. He was very introverted. To get a word from him required a significant effort. I even started to think, why is this boy so reserved?
Da se dobije riječ da ili ne, trebalo je puno napora. I počeo sam razmišljati, Bože, pa zbog čega je ovaj dečko tako zatvoren? Onda Jakov sa svojim
Yakov was next with his big blue eyes and an open heart. He was so vivacious and so small. He spoke about his experience with a great trust, great joy. He felt his experience as a great privilege and grace. Then came Maria, simple and silent girl. She started talking about how beautiful Our Lady was. She described her in the most beautiful yet God-fearing manner with such a soft voice and a gentle heart.
S jednim mekanim glasom I otmjenim jednim srcem. Ja sam poslije ostao s Ivankom najduže, mislim, zbog čega sam bio opterećen.
I spoke with Ivanka the longest. Why? Because I was under a burden concerning her mother's death. Her mother Jagoda had just been buried in May, and I couldn't forget Ivanka on the funeral day and the parting scene with her mother at the graveside. I saw Ivanka filled with so much pain. She wanted to die with her mother. She wanted to be buried with her mother. I was thinking perhaps that's the reason they were having that experience. It might be the influence of a person as a medium on others because of a great desire to see her mother. I asked, "Did Our Lady show you your mother? Did you ask Our Lady about her?" She answered, "Yes." "So what did Our Lady tell you?" "Our Lady said that she would show me my mother." "Why didn't she?" "Well, she didn't, but she promised that she would." The girl was full of undaunted hope. She was not sad anymore. I was the one who was troubled now.
Jesi li pitao da ti pokaže mamu? Jes. O, moj. Pa šta ti je rekla Gospa? Kaže, rekla mi je da će mi pokazati mamu. Pa zašto ti nije pokazala? Pa nije, ali mi je obećala. Puna nade, djevojka govori. Više nije tužna. Ja sam gotovo bio tužniji.
At the same time, numerous people ran to the apparition hill, searching for signs of unusual things, just like doubting Thomas, who wanted to touch the mystery with his own hand.
U tom momentu nemoguće reći šta smo mi osjećali.
During those moments, it's impossible to say what we felt. Joy and fear all at once. But at the same time, the invitation of Our Lady, I cannot describe that. Not even today. For example, on that first day we couldn't sleep at all. It's just impossible to describe our feelings with words. We were drawn to go there, but on the other hand, we didn't know what to do, not even what to say to her.
Se približi šta reći. Naprimjer, prvi dan mi nismo znali ni šta reći.
Onda mi je još nešto što sam snažno doživio.
And there was another thing that was rather powerful for me as a Christian, as a priest. I've read the words of Jesus many times where he says, when the time comes and people start saying he's here, he is there, speaking about the Messiah that is to come at the end of time, do not believe them. So obeying the words of Jesus, I did not believe them. So if you, Jesus, say, do not believe them, I will not believe them. But you must show us whether we should believe these children or not.
Kažeš, nemojte vjerovati. Evo ja neću vjerovati, ti pokaži. Hoćemo li vjerovati ili ne?
The parish priest invited the parishioners to return to church, to stop searching for signs, that it was within God's grace, which is ever present in the Eucharist and the Gospel, that they should prepare themselves and find the fulfillment of their personal dreams and aspirations. The parish priest was clear. God had spoken once through the prophets, then finally through his Son. God told us everything he wanted through Christ. Therefore, we are not obliged to believe in anything that has come later. But God is almighty.
I begged them, if you are in a hurry to go home, if you are tired of praying, then just return to your homes. Give up your curiosity. Overcome curiosity. I happened to be the last person to leave the church that day. I came out to see where the crowd was heading. All the people, every one of them was heading towards the hill. I alone remained at the church.
The authorities forbade gathering at the apparition hill. They challenged the children and Our Lady. If the apparition is just personal, couldn't it happen wherever the children were?
The police, armed with dogs and bulletproof cars, came from Sarajevo. They wore masks, as if it was wartime. We heard stories that their families were crying and saying goodbye to them. It was said that there was a kind of organization in West Herzegovina, something similar to the war in Kosovo. Something was going on through the so-called Our Lady. That was what they said. When they came here, the prohibition began. 2 local men and the policemen blocked the street, and the hill was blocked, everything was blocked.
Blokirana ulica, blokirano brdo.
The Virgin Mary continued appearing, despite the change of place. The authorities wanted the guilty person. If the children were not guilty, then the parish priest certainly was. The children were naive, innocent, and persecuting them could cause people to feel compassion. Doctors said that they were healthy, and it was possible that they have had some visions, but it was impossible. It was not true. There was no God, and there must not be one. The system, which was being built for so long, couldn't be put into doubt by an intervention of the supernatural. There is no Virgin Mary. So who was misleading the children? The parish priest. Conspiracy was the best way to deny the authenticity of an event. A political motive had to be found. Listen to the preaching and speech of that man. Find proof why this man is dangerous and show how he violates the existing order. And the day came when they found their proof in the sermon of the priest where he talked about the 40 years of slavery of the people of Israel, as if we don't know which slavery the words referred to.
Došli su to jutro, kad je bio projekat njihov gotov i sam se ja pojavio.
They came one morning to fetch me when they had put all the pieces together in their complot against me. I opened the door and told them I'd be ready in a minute. A man dressed as a civilian showed me his ID, stating that he was the secret police and had come to arrest me to put me in prison, but he wouldn't allow me to go in my priest's cassock. I said that was my suit, and I didn't have any other. He replied, "You can't go in that robe." He used force to tear off my priestly robe.
Druga nema. Ne možeš u habitu. I nije mi dao. Na sinu mi je svukao habit.
It was terrible. Everybody cried. If you'd only been there in the church that day, when the late Father Ringo told us that they had taken our parish priest in an unknown direction, everybody wept. Not cried, but wept.
Dear children, I wish to keep on giving messages, and therefore today I call you to live and accept my messages. Dear children, I love you, and in a special way I have chosen this parish, one more dear to me than the others, in which I have gladly remained when the Almighty sent me. Therefore I call on you. Accept me, dear children, that it might go well with you. Listen to my messages. Thank you for having responded to my call.
Why exactly were these children chosen? Why precisely this place out of so many places in the world? These were the questions the visionaries were continually asking themselves, conscientiously aware that they were ordinary people, neither better nor worse than their neighbors.
I used to be an average believer, the same as all others here. I attended Mass, many times only because my parents made me. I would pray with them quite often, because here prayer has always been very important. Our parents had us pray with them late every evening. Very often I got tired of praying and I could hardly wait for it to finish to run off. Never in my life could I imagine that Our Lady would appear to anyone. Until I was 16, I had never heard anything about Lourdes or Fatima or any other apparition. I never felt any special devotion to Our Lady. When we returned home, we'd pray the rosary and intercessory prayer, either before or after dinner. There was always prayer in our home before the apparitions, but not as much as there is now. I always ask in my heart, Mother, why me? Wasn't there anybody else better than me? In the beginning we asked her, why this place? And she answered, because the people here were always pious, especially devoted to me, and sacrificed a lot for their faith.
In those first years, either because of government requirements or sometimes just out of pure curiosity, medical science was called in many times as a witness or as a denier to the apparitions.
We all know that we are healthy and normal. For example, 2 years ago, when I did those tests for the last time, a doctor called my husband and said, "Do you know that your wife is very clever? Not only is she very clever, but she's far above average." He said, I knew that my wife was clever before I married her.
Each pilgrim came in search of miracles or to have a personal experience. And so the first days were marked not only by the mystical apparitions of the visionaries, but also by various unexplainable phenomena which we call signs.
The sun changed. It appeared like a host. It was spinning. There was a kind of ring that formed inside the edges of the sun. Out of the ring, many, many lights were coming towards me. That was how I experienced it. A lot of people are just looking for exterior phenomena or signs, and day by day they become more and more closed within themselves. They just recognize what they see on the outside. Inside, from day to day, man is more and more closed within himself. But Our Lady says, don't give over importance to those things. Rather, give importance to your inner self. Little by little start opening your heart so that you can recognize the signs that are coming from the outside.
During the moments of the apparitions, the visionaries have built a special relationship with Our Lady. They haven't been passive observers. They have shared joy and sorrow with her and have asked for motherly advice. She became the most important person in their lives.
Ja jedva čekam, na primjer, večeras kada će to sused doći.
I can hardly wait for our encounter at night, because I have become so close to her with such a deep friendship. I know that my mother had brought me up for 16 years, but Our Lady has been bringing me up now for 19 years.
Znam da me moja majka odgajala 16 godina, ali već me odgaja 19 godina.
Ja sam prije mislila, početak, znaš, Gospa.
In the beginning, I thought of Our Lady as a mother, but little by little, as time was passing by and through many years, she has become no longer like a mother to me, but more like my best friend. You don't have to be just serious or talk to her. You can sometimes laugh a little bit, and you can ask her questions. In this way, we became very close as best friends.
Tako smo se nekako, približile ko najbolje prijateljice.
The years have passed, and the children have become adults. Just as their parents took care of them and safeguarded them through those experiences, so now they too, with the same care, must explain to their own children about their mystical experience.
Well, it's all normal to my children. Since they were born, they've lived with Our Lady and with me, with this reality. Many times when they are with other children, they boast, my mother sees Our Lady. What can you do but laugh?
The message we get from looking at the visionaries' lifestyle is one of common, everyday life of families with children, with all its hardships and sufferings, advantages and disadvantages, but always with prayer and confidence in God in an eternal process of conversion.
It's obvious that Our Lady is not going to appear forever, but I'm grateful to God for all these great, magnificent gifts He has given to me. I'm going to continue my mission as if she is here every day. I've gained enough in these 19 years of being with Our Lady, so that when she stops appearing to me, I could take all 19 years of her messages, and by reliving each one in my heart, I'd have another 19 years with her again.
Open your own heart for conversion. Regain peace for yourself in this distorted world. To live with God through Our Lady in Medjugorje means to get to know your own inner being, the source of your being and your final destiny. Our Lady is not the very core of the Medjugorje message. She is the grace that announces Christ again.
I remember at the beginning we prayed a lot for Our Lady's intentions, because we wanted Our Lady to stay with us as long as possible. Later we realized that Our Lady allowed us to fall in love with her, but only to lead us to Jesus.
Theological doubts are different to the doubts of common man, and they need to find their own explanations. One of the discussions concerning the Medjugorje apparitions is the diversity of the apparition location.
Ja ne vidim nikakva razloga nijekati ili sumnjati u kazanja.
I do not see any reason to deny or doubt the apparitions just because they are not happening at the same place and time. From another point of view, it's important that the number of visionaries didn't increase. Whoever is familiar with the history of Lourdes knows that besides Bernadette, later there were many other visionaries. But here in Medjugorje, none of the children's peers claim to have had apparitions, which could have easily happened if the children had seen that it was interesting and that it could have been nice and, well, someone could have made up a story.
Kad su djeca vidjela da je to zanimljivo, da bi to moglo biti lijepo, da bi to... Da se mogao još netko izmisliti nešto.
Medjugorje as a phenomenon is followed by another theological and mystical peculiarity, the regularity of Our Lady's apparitions.
Dosta ljudi insistirali na početku.
In the beginning, a lot of people wanted us to ask Our Lady how long she would appear to us. During an apparition, we asked her, "Mother, for how long will you be with us?" She answered, "Are you already bored with me, my children?" I never again asked that question, and I will never ask her again. I'm only an instrument in her and God's hands for as long as she wants. I'm not tired of it yet.
Our Lady is a mother, and we recognize her as a love for her son. But we, people, are weak, and we keep trying to imagine her human features, to picture it as if we're going to find the answer in that way. And in everything which is imperceivable, we want a trace of something which is well known to us. The visionaries cannot describe Our Lady exactly the way she is, but they keep on trying to describe her because that is a basic question everyone asks visionaries.
Svaka slika, ljudi koji su dolazili, koji su je slikali.
Many images of Our Lady were shown to us, but we never said, "Yes, this is what she looks like." We always thought inside, "Oh, how ugly." But we would tell the artist, "It's nice, but it's not exactly like her," so as not to insult him. Truthfully, we have never found any painting or image of Our Lady which shows the beauty of Our Lady as we see her. Once we asked her, "Why are you so beautiful? We cannot describe your beauty." She just smiled and answered, "I'm beautiful because I love."
Njezin glas je, na primjer, kao da pjeva.
Her voice, it's as if she sings as she talks. It's so harmonious, her voice, so melodious, so wonderful. It's difficult to say anything else. It's hard to find a better word.
Divan, jer mislim, teško je drugo reći. Teško je nešto naći neku bolju riječ.
When I see Our Lady's message written on paper in plain human words, it looks so poor to me. But when Our Lady speaks, it's so profound, so immense, so wonderful, just so wonderful.
Divna, jednostavno divna.
Zdravo Marijo, milosti puna, Gospodin s tobom, blagoslovljena.
Our Lady comes and greets the visionaries in the same way the people of Medjugorje greet each other. Praise be Jesus. She calls them children and sometimes my angels. She talks and listens. She weeps and smiles. And she blesses.
Prije nego što vidimo Gospu,
Before we see Our Lady, it seems to us as if we could ask her thousands of things. But once we're in front of her, we simply forget. No, it's not that we forget, but it simply becomes irrelevant. Even those who are around us and who are important to us, our family, even our own children, of course they are important to us, thank goodness. But when Our Lady comes, it's she who is the most important to us. That moment is simply indescribable.
Taj moment nam je neopisljiv.
Kraljice mira.
Once a month, Our Lady gives a message for the whole world, and Maria transmits it.
Za vrijeme ukazanja Gospa mi kaže.
During the apparition, Our Lady tells me the message, and immediately after the apparition I write down everything she said, while her face and words are still fresh in my mind.
I lice i riječ, ono što mi je Gospa rekla.
Ali kaže, to najbolje možete učiniti s krunicom u ruci, najjače oružje protiv satane.
Issues and problems, when viewed from the perspective of earthly concerns and priorities, are not as important as when seen in the light of mystical experience. Things that seem to be very important in this world might become entirely unessential when seen in the light of mystical experience, or even unimportant earthly concerns may become important in the eternal light.
Not all direct questions are answered by Our Lady. We do remember all the questions, but she knows which to answer and which not. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. There are a lot of people who ask all kinds of questions, and then they think that their question is the only important one.
An apparition is not just a simple repetition of the same event. An apparition is always different with regards to content. Far away from God, man can really distance himself from God. And while he does not think he needs anyone in the desert of his heart, God still searches for him, and Our Lady urges him not to condemn himself. In her messages through the visionary Mariana, Our Lady shows her special care for these distant souls, revealing that Holy Providence does not deny help for the salvation of those who haven't yet had an experience of God.
U tim slučajevima uvijek vidimo.
In the above cases, we always see Our Lady's great sorrow and her longing to call to them, because each one of us is really important to her. So many times Our Lady has shown how she really wants to save each one of us and to help us. Also those individuals who are lost and don't know what to do, those people who do not see the meaning of their life, and even those who have lost a reason to live. We see that for Our Lady they are so important.
Pilgrims come to Medjugorje from all over the world. Some travel from distant places barefoot and tired, some hoping for a last chance. Some are people who have lost their illusions, others who come with a hope of a new beginning. Ordinary and fanatical believers, atheists and passerbys, martyrs and hypocrites, and all of them, each in his own way, experiences a personal encounter with grace. And each one leaves Medjugorje with his own personal story, the contents of which depend on whether his heart was open or sufficient to itself.
Kada sam vidio kad dolaze ljudi iz Njemačke, Amerike,
When I saw people coming from America, from Germany, I wondered why all those people were coming here. I always thought that the apparition was only for myself and that it wouldn't extend further than this.
izaći iz tih okvira.
Motivacija koja ovdje ljude pokreće da vamo dođu.
The motivation that brings people here is actually some kind of desire for peace. I think that the message here strikes the deepest need of man, which is the one most in jeopardy, not only now in this age of the atom bomb or similar things, but in all times man has always found obstacles when it comes to realizing his desire and the need for peace.
Što se tiče želje I ostvarenja mira ugrožen.
Host and guest, parishioners and pilgrims, always and everywhere, either people meet or pass by each other. But here, everyone is listening to Our Lady's invitation to make their life a pilgrimage of faith.
Who are the foreigners? The ones who are coming here are not strangers. We have to treat them as our own, because the parishioners treat those who come to their homes as one of their own.
I župljani one koji k njima dolaze drže svojim.
Mislim da moramo biti stvarno za ove ljude.
I really think that we have to be open and honest to these people. God will reward it, I'm sure. They all came here hungry for God. That's all they came for. That's what I keep telling my children. I, myself, do as much as I can to make these people feel as if they have come back to their mother's home, and not as if they were only tourists.
Mogu da se ljudi osjećaju kao da su kod majke, a ne da su došli kao turisti.
Pilgrims are searching. All of them have their own ideas, needs, wishes, hopes, and in their search they want to get to know and understand the visionary's experience.
Čovjek je tu I teško ti je čovjeka odbiti.
People come here and it's difficult to refuse them. They have so much faith. They believe that Our Lady is here every day. They say, "We know that you touch Our Lady with your hand. For us it will only be enough if you just put your hand on our head. Why should it be a problem for me to put my hand on people's heads? I only do it in response to their faith."
Ali to je sve zbog njihove vjere.
Jednom prilikom ja kad sam bila u Napulju.
Once I was in Naples. In that Italian region, some say that the people can act in a little fanatical way. Anyway, there someone cut off a piece of my hair from behind and I didn't even feel it. But I'm sure that if Vitska had been there, they would have cut off not just a piece of, but all her hair, and even all her clothes. We see Vitska being so open with all these people, and she's really sensitive to all their needs. Each one of us has a different gift, so we thank God that Vitska has this special gift.
Opet, svaki od nas ima neki poseban dar, pa eto. Bogu zahvaljujemo I za Vicku.
The apparitions have changed the rhythms of events. The circumstances of living have changed. The fall of communism, war, and a hope for real freedom. Ordinary men in the spin of history and in reality which exposes him to permanent temptations of earthly goods.
Naravno, kroz ovih, već 20. godinu, župa je prošla kroz možda
Through these 20 years, the parishioners have passed perhaps through 3 different phases. The first phase was one of surprise and a certain confusion, but at the same time it was a period of enthusiasm that has not been temporary because this enthusiasm continues today.
I elana i rekao bih jednog zanosa koji nije bio samo trenutno stanje, nego je on trajao i traje. Zatim dolazi druga jedna etapa u kojoj
Then followed a second phase in which the parishioners waned towards the spiritual requests because they overemphasized the obligations towards the pilgrims coming to their homes, and here a certain disorientation was to be expected. It seems to me that we've entered a time where reality has now set in and maturity can come.
Čini mi se da je sada nastupilo jedno vrijeme koje je ipak jedno vrijeme realnosti i zrelosti.
Although the Medjugorje apparitions are personal apparitions, its message is directed towards every person, every man, towards a change of his heart, his views, and towards conversion.
I stopped cursing. Now I go to church every evening. Some people find that hard to believe. Even for me it's hard to understand. But as the time draws near for Mass, I could be busy, but something within me urges me. So I leave everything and go to the church.
The church still has not officially recognized the Medjugorje apparitions. Medjugorje continues on together with its opponents and its persistent overflow of pilgrims. In Medjugorje, the gospel lives with a special power of grace for those who recognize it and open their hearts to it.
Even if they never recognize this, I recognize it. And for me it's the same as Lourdes and Fatima, and I believe.
Ja priznam.
Crkva je zaštitila Medjugorje I kazala je.
The Church has protected Medjugorje and may have said much more by not forbidding pilgrimages and by keeping Medjugorje open than if the Church had already approved it and people came here only superficially. But history will define that. In this way, a personal decision is needed to be made, not because a commission or the Holy Father defines it, but because one responds to grace.
Netko I definirao kao papa, što može ili neka komisija, već zbog tog što osjeća milost.
One of the things which still hovers over Medjugorje is the issue concerning a visible sign which Our Lady promised to leave. Its interpretations and explanations. Should we expect it, or has it already occurred?
Gospa je obećala dati znak na mjestu ukaza.
Our Lady promised to leave a sign at the apparition site which would be permanent and visible and indestructible. It will remain there forever. She wants to leave a sign that she was here with us, especially for those who are away from God.
Među nama, a na poseban način za one koji su daleko od Boga.
The secrets that Our Lady has revealed to the visionaries often encourage imagination and broaden curiosity. Man has always been concerned about tomorrow. Although intrigued by the future, he wonders whether he wants that knowledge. There are 10 secrets for each of the visionaries, and not all of them received all secrets. And as the secrets are, the secret is unknown whether they are the same. As it now stands, the everyday apparitions will cease after the 10th secret is revealed to the last of the visionaries.
All that I can say about the secrets is that I have received 9 secrets. Third secret refers to the sign, that's all I could say. And something else. The 7th secret has been eased with our prayers. Not all of it, only half. That's why Our Lady encourages continual prayer and wants us to strengthen our prayer so that the secrets that are coming can be eased.
And what is man's concern about the future? Mostly for man himself. He wonders about his own nature and talks about personal fears, about natural cataclysms and disasters caused by men.
Our Lady didn't come here to frighten us, to punish us, to criticize us, or to talk to us about doomsday, the second coming of Jesus. No, absolutely not. She comes here as a mother of hope, and she wants to bring hope to this world.
This is a time of grace, and that is the way Medjugorje should be enjoyed.
Nekako osjećam da je tu Gospa na poseban način nazočna. Ona je svuda.
Somehow, in a very special way, I feel God and Our Lady's presence here. She's everywhere, but in Medjugorje it seems to me that God, through his work here, wants to honor his mother. He even wants to accomplish miracles through her, and through this place, Medjugorje, have her celebrated throughout the world. He wants to show us that there is no salvation without her.
Dear children, today also I invite you to prayer. Only by prayer and fasting can war be stopped. Therefore, my dear children, pray, and by your life give witness that you are mine and that you belong to me, because Satan wishes in these turbulent days to seduce as many souls as possible. Therefore, I invite you to decide for God, and He will protect you and show you what you should do and which path to take. I invite all those who have said yes to me to renew their consecration to my Son Jesus, and to His heart, and to me, so we can take you more intensely as instruments of peace in this unpeaceful world. Medjugorje is a sign to all of you, and a call to pray and live the days of grace that God is giving you. Therefore, dear children, accept the call to prayer with seriousness. I am with you, and your suffering is also mine. Thank you for having responded to my call.
Mir Gospodnji je bio vazda sa svima vama. Hristo mir podijelimo jedni drugima.
I am the Queen of Peace, says Our Lady. Open your heart and you will experience peace. You will become carriers of peace. Possibilities will be realized in you. Conversion will be realized in you. Nothing unusual, nothing new, nothing impossible. Conversion, prayer, fasting, confession, the Eucharist, with the Bible as a source and Christ as a way.
I see prayer and a praying person like a mother. A mother gives birth to each of her children, but each one is always unique. In the same way, in prayer, each Hail Mary is new and completely different. It will never be repeated. It doesn't mean that I've changed and converted overnight because I can see Our Lady. It doesn't mean that I've become better. I am aware that my conversion is a process that I have to work on and decide for each day. I have to be patient and persistent. Being with Our Lady is a great gift, a great joy, but also a great responsibility. God has given me a lot, and He demands a lot from me. It was difficult to live Holy Mass and to say that Holy Mass was more important than the apparitions of Our Lady. For us, the apparition was the center, the most important moment of our life. Then, little by little, through prayer, everything became deeper, more profound and easier. I myself am trying to live the Holy Mass as the center of my life. Well, there are days when you are in crisis, when you do not experience the presence of God very strongly in Holy Mass, but other days you do, and so deeply.
Our Lady untiringly repeats the same messages. In the light of the Bible, in the experience of the Church, in its spirituality, those messages have been present for centuries, and they have always been the challenge to human weakness.
Everything Our Lady says is mere repetition of the Gospel. If a person comes and says, I don't need Medjugorje, I fast, pray, convert, I live peace, I help and reconcile myself with people, I love everyone, then he really does not need Medjugorje. We can compare it to school and home. The teacher assigns homework, and really the child does not need his mother to do his homework for him. But his mother, how often she must say, do your homework. Hundreds of times she repeats this until he actually gets his homework done. Therefore, we do not have to live the messages just because some of the visionaries repeated them, but because they are from the Gospel. Through them we have life.
Neko od vidjelaca ponovio, nego zato što su to evanđelske, zato što je to naš život.
Many people recognize the essence of the messages as a revival of traditional faith and question the actuality of this in our modern times. To which degree can the messages meet the challenges in our present times?
On a spiritual level, there's no such thing as new, old, modern, or old-fashioned. There exists only man who needs to receive and be given love and attention. And if this doesn't happen, man isn't happy.
Unfulfilled expectations and disappointments with Medjugorje exist. How are we to understand this? It's because we find weakness in those who should have helped in understanding, and weakness in those who introduce Medjugorje with a spirit of exclusivity and separation from the life of their parishes and groups, keeping in mind that the experience should be shared, and only in this way it's multiplied.
Mislim da je najpogubniji
The most perilous form of an interpretation or acceptance of Medjugorje is when a group isolates itself and becomes in a certain way a parish within a parish, or a group within a group, assigning itself a special mission based on their interpretation of the Medjugorje events.
Sebi uzima za pravo neko posebno poslanje na temelju događaja u Medjugorju. I mislim da je to
I think that does not do justice to Medjugorje, nor to the places where it happens.
Da je to jedna loša usluga.
Fruits of Medjugorje. What does Medjugorje offer the church? Is there a new spirit or strength that can be recognized? What mark does Medjugorje leave on the Christian community of believers?
Plodovi su čudesni, jer crkva
The fruits are miraculous. The Church enters the new millennium due in part to Medjugorje with thousands upon thousands of new praying communities.
Sa tisućama i tisućama i tisućama novih molitvenih zajednica. To je crkva koja moli. Ona je ušla. A
church that prays, with its people turned towards the Eucharist, towards Jesus, towards the Bible, towards God and mission.
Okrenuta Bibliji, okrenuta Bogu I svom pozivu.
And what should be said to those who are yet to come?
Iskoristite ovo vrijeme.
Use this time. This is a time of grace. You do not have to pay any attention to the visionaries or to the Franciscans, but really use this time. Let it really become time for your personal conversion. If we truly start working on ourselves, God, through Our Lady here in Medjugorje, gives Himself to us. We here in Medjugorje see that Our Lady truly loves us and gives herself to us in 1,000 different ways.
Dear children, I invite you to reflect about your future. You are creating a new world without God, only with your own strength, and that is why you are unsatisfied and without joy in the heart. This time is my time, and that is why, little children, I invite you again to pray. When you find unity with God, you will feel hunger for the Word of God, and your heart, little children, will overflow with joy. You will witness God's love wherever you are. I bless you, and I repeat to you that I am with you to help you. Thank you for having responded to my call.
Medjugorje of tomorrow, of man, and of the church. Medjugorje, the fruit that yields like the mustard seed in the heart of the world. Or Medjugorje like a story which loses its glitter. For the open or closed of heart of the world, for this or that future, it lives for the living church, and it wants to live with the living church.
Medjugorje continues its way. Our Lady has a plan, and she said in one message, what I've started in Fatima, I continue through Medjugorje. That means Our Lady has her plan, and with us or without us, she will go on.
Za
mene je Medjugorje, dakle, taj veliki, veličanstveni blagdan, kad se predstavlja moja crkva I budistima I hinduistima koji...
For me, Medjugorje is a feast, a magnificent feast where my church presents itself to everybody, to Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, Orthodox, Anglicans, Lutherans, atheists, or any other formation of sect.
Crkvu najbolje predstavi Medjugorje. Ako bih kazao, idi vidi što je moja crkva, onda bih kazao, čovjek uzebe ga za ruke.
My church is best represented by Medjugorje. If you would like to see what my church is, then I would take your hand and tell you, come with me and watch the church. Look with your heart at the souls of people and their lives, and you will learn what I believe in and what humanity is. You will learn what the church is. Medjugorje is a kind of identity card for my church today.
Što je to moja crkva? To je jedna iskaznica, razumijete li, moje crkve danas.